Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Slashing It with Matt. Today we are discussing Scream 4. And I just want to say this movie, I loved it. I love all the Scream movies, except maybe Scream 3 was probably my least favorite. But with Scream 4, we basically follow where all of our characters left off in 2000. So we're 11 years after that movie. So everyone kind of thought, myself included, that we had Scream 1, 2, and 3, that trilogy, and then we were done. Ended up not being the case. So they decided to come back for Scream 4. And something I absolutely love about this movie, it takes place in Woodsboro, California, but it was actually filmed here in Michigan, Metro Detroit area, which, I'm actually not too far from those filming locations. So that's very interesting. It gives me the ability to go and make a Scream 4 locations video, pretty much whenever I want. So I'm kind of excited for that. That's something I want to do in the future. But so let's get into this movie. The film opens with, obviously, we have our opening kill in every Scream film. With this one, it starts out, we have two girls, okay? They're, basically getting the call from the Ghostface killer, getting messages, things like that, and they both get killed off. Next thing we see is crazy because we realize that someone just watched a stab movie, so it's basically a movie within a movie. We see that again in the second sequence, and then finally in the third sequence we realize, okay, they're actually in Woodsboro and this is part of the real movie. Everyone, I think, thought we were being tricked at that point too, but they made reference to living in Woodsboro, so we're like, okay, this one's got to be the real thing. So same as normal, Ghostface calls them. Now there's more technology in this film, so they have apps now with the Ghostface voice and all that. So I think that's kind of cool that they were able to come to that point after all those years. And basically another two girls get killed off, and then we get our Scream 4 title card, which is very interesting because we've seen it kind of the same through every movie. Then we are in present day in Woodsboro, of course, and you see Sydney. She's in town. She's there for a book tour back in Woodsboro. We are reintroduced to all of our original characters, Dewey and Gale. They are actually not in a good place. They're always fighting, things like that, and ultimately in Scream 5 we found out they were divorced, as they are actually in real life, because they were indeed married in real life. So basically the things start happening up again. Ghostface killer's making calls. Now the newest target in this film is Jill Roberts, which is Sidney Prescott's niece. She's kind of the new target. She almost took over the final girl role in this film. But I mean, then again, not really, because I feel like Sidney Prescott still had a pretty significant role in this film. She was just kind of there while she was doing her book tour, helping out her niece, dealing with this new series of crimes. So basically, same thing, everything we see in a Scream movie. Several people get calls from the Ghostface killer, this and that. We have so many new characters, and basically just more people to kill off. And there are some pretty good kills in this movie. I'd say pretty much in the beginning of the film, Jill and Kirby are in her bedroom. They get a call from the Ghostface killer. Okay, they think the Ghostface killer is going to strike them and that he is in their closet. Well, that's not the case. Right next door, okay, where their friend lives, Ghostface killer's in her closet, and he brutally attacks her. He brutally, basically, cuts her guts out, and it was a crazy scene to me. In my honest opinion, in every Scream film, that was the most brutal kill I have seen, and I thought it was great. So it kind of took us aback and kind of changed things up a little bit. Kind of made us think one thing when we knew another thing was going to happen. So I thought that was pretty interesting, that they kind of tricked us in a way. Then obviously, after they see their friend Olivia being attacked, being thrown out the window, Jill and Sydney run over there, just to see if, there was anything they can do. But unfortunately, it was too late. Ghostface killer was still in the house, slashed Jill's arm. She basically saw Sydney and basically said to Sydney, "You're a curse because of who you are. You know, you kind of brought this onto me and my friends and, you know, everything like that." So, you know, she had a lot of resentment to Sydney, I feel, in this movie. But movie goes on. They end up doing a stab-a-thon, basically celebration, okay, which they do every year. And at this one, Gale Weathers is so desperate for a story. She's going to do whatever she can to film this thing, see what's going on, see if she can get any information on the murders that are happening 10 years after the last film. And she's putting cameras everywhere. And what happens? She gets attacked, okay? Does she die? No. Dewey comes to her rescue. She's basically safe. Whole barn clears out, which is where they were having the party to celebrate the stab-a-thon. Then we kind of get into the third act of this film. We go back to Kirby's house, okay? And by the way, something I didn't mention, there's, again, several suspects throughout this movie. You have no idea. I didn't mention her boyfriend, who I guess cheated on her and tried, you know, get back with her several times. She just wasn't having it. They made it very obvious that he was a suspect. It was even obvious that Kirby was a suspect because she had all the information on horror films. She knew everything about pretty much everything. You know, her knowledge was up to here. So she kind of understood the formula of how horror works, just like Billy and Stu did in Scream 1. So there were a lot of similarities there. But I mean, me personally, I still didn't think she was the killer. And, you know, in this movie, we actually think that she is killed off, but she is not. She actually is coming back for Scream 6, which we found out about in Scream 5. So it's going to be good to see some legacy characters, especially because in Scream 6 we're losing Sidney Prescott. So that's a bummer. So I'm glad you know, we get someone else back besides Gale Weathers. So I think that's going to treat the Scream 6, you know, and kind of not replace Sidney Prescott, but kind of help us move on from that. Plus, we get all of our characters that survived, which was a lot from Scream 5. So, you know, I'm looking forward to that. And, you know, we have to look forward to that movie next year and hope that we eventually get a Scream 7 where we do have Sidney Prescott come back for that, which I'm hopeful for that. But anyway, getting back to Scream 4, so we're in our final act. We're at Kirby's house. There's drinking going on, questions, you know, who's the killer, you know, type of thing, just like there is in every movie. You know, there's a point where, you know, Kirby is, you know, kind of being questioned by our, you know, potential killer, okay, Charlie. And he is outside, he's banging on the window, he's begging for help. It looks like he was wounded, but then we have Sidney Prescott there with her saying, if you don't trust him, don't let him in. Okay, and that's exactly what she did. She didn't let him in because she doesn't know for sure. In these movies, you never know who it is. It could be anybody. And basically, Ghostface Killer comes up behind him, stabbing him several times right in front of her. And that kind of makes you think that, okay, well, they did this in Scream 1, so could this just be a decoy to get her outside? We don't know. But we find out later in the movie, he ends up being tied to a chair, okay? And he's out of it. You know, you can tell he's not dead. Kirby goes up to him, starts to untie him. He stabs her. That tells us right there, oh no, Ghostface Killer number 1 has been revealed, okay? She falls to the ground. That's the last we see of Kirby, okay? So it kind of makes sense that she is still alive. Then Sidney runs into Ghostface in the hallway of Kirby's house. Takes the mask off. Who is it? Her cousin Jill. That was a huge shock to me. I was pretty surprised by that. I was like, oh, okay. They really threw us off with that one, especially me. And Jill kind of explains why she does it. She wants the fame Sidney had. She said basically, oh, you know, you want to be famous, you just got to have fucked up shit happen to you. That's how you get famous. You know, and I think she was jealous. Sydney was writing a book. Sydney got all this attention. That's what she wanted. Jill even went to the lengths of killing her own mother just to get this fame. And, you know, we find out, you know, she's on the right track. You know, she sets everything up perfectly. She ends up killing Charlie. She attacks herself, stabs herself. She throws herself through a glass table. She stabs Sydney. She makes it look like the perfect crime scene. But in the end, when they're at the hospital, well, she said something to Dewey about the matching wounds her and Gale have, and ultimately it got her caught. So didn't end well for Jill. You know, Sydney woke up, you know, pretty much out of a coma. She was in pretty bad shape, and her, Dewey, and Gale teamed up, and they did what they always do. They killed Jill. So, you know, movie got its happy ending, I feel. It was good. It was well played out. Good hospital scene, in my opinion. I do like when they do hospital scenes in movies. I think they're interesting. I just didn't like the hospital scene in Halloween Kills. That was too much. But back to this. So Jill ends up dying. We have our three main legacy characters, Sydney, Gale, and Dewey, all survive, and we also have Deputy Judy, who also survived, and we will, you know, see her in Scream 5. So basically, my overall thoughts of this movie, good. I did think in the beginning, there were, you know, I guess I didn't really like the, you know, the whole opening sequence. It was different. I don't think it fit a Scream movie very well. And there were some funny moments and funny character dialogue, and I'd say in the first 10 minutes that I thought was a little cheesy in my opinion, but overall great movie, great follow-up. And then 11 years later we would have Scream 5, and here we are now waiting on Scream 6. So I think the Scream franchise is doing great. So I'm excited to see what their plans are going forward. So you know, again, I'm waiting for that. So that's going to be it for my Scream 4 review. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys subscribe. I would really appreciate it. And I look forward to seeing you guys for episode 5. And again, I'm still working on my background. That's why I'm in kind of different places in my house. I'm just trying to perfect everything. So again, if you guys could subscribe, like my videos, I would really appreciate that. I would really hope for this page to grow, and this is what I'm passionate about. So yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.